This week, I'm going to share my number one secret for how to maximize your auto insurance policy right here in Maryland. The thing is, me using the word secret is kind of a lie because it's information I've told you before. But here we go. Good morning, everybody. It is Jobeth Bowers, your accident and injury lawyer, right here from my Elkton office. Happy Monday. Boy, oh boy, the allergies are really kicking at me today. Maybe you're having some of that too. So, I don't know. Not fun, but here we are. We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, auto insurance. Auto insurance and what you need, I repeat, need to be looking for on your auto insurance policy. This is a slightly different twist on a topic that I've talked about a number of times. This is by and large the absolute number one way to maximize your auto insurance policy here in Maryland, which in turn, if you are ever injured in an accident, will allow us to maximize that injury claim. In fact, with the tip that I'm going to give you today, you may eventually be in a scenario like some of our clients recently, where because they did what I told them to do in this tip, and number two, contacted my office immediately and allowed us to kind of run the entire show of who paid what and in what order, my client is going to, and this has happened a number of times, it happens a number of times every year. It doesn't happen nearly as much as it should, which is why I'm putting out these podcasts and giving all of this valuable information absolutely free. But I have had clients who have had the net proceeds from their accident cases, their settlements, the amount of money they're putting in their pocket, be as much money, if not sometimes, very rare, but sometimes more than what we actually settled the case for. And this is after paying all the medical bills, after paying attorney's fees. Somehow I'm handing them a check for more money than we settled the case for. It seems ridiculous. It seems absurd. You're probably going to look at this video and think that, hey, this guy's got dementia. He has no idea what he's talking about, but I do. And it starts with your own auto insurance policy and a coverage that I have talked about countless times. And I will continue to beat this drum and talk about this coverage until I stop practicing law, or until there's some magical way that all these cars drive themselves and therefore there are no accidents and there is no need for insurance and there is no need for me, which will be something that would cause me to stop practicing law, because as you know, this is all I know. This is all I do, are these accident cases. But the coverage I want to talk about today for you, and this is something that you can go and look into immediately after watching this broadcast, immediately after watching this video, if you're seeing it late or after the fact, and that is your personal injury protection coverage. This is super important. Every policy in Maryland is supposed to have it. You don't want to waive this coverage. I've got previous videos where we talk about tricky ways in which insurance companies have you waive this coverage. I've also had videos in which I break down how incredibly inexpensive it is to increase this coverage to the absolute maximum possible. What is this coverage? Personal injury protection coverage. It is a no-fault coverage on your policy. And I know a lot of people are a little, I don't want to make a claim with my policy. I get it. It makes sense. This is a policy that's specifically and explicitly written into the statute here in the state of Maryland. When you make a claim for this coverage, your insurance company cannot raise your rates. They cannot take away discounts. They cannot take away bonuses. The legislature, love them or hate them, got it right on this one. They have come up with every little piece of language that an insurance company could possibly use to discuss the way in which they determine your rates, and said, you can't touch any of that for somebody making a personal injury protection claim on their own policy. It is coverage that comes in. It will pay wage loss up to 85% of your wage loss, and obviously up to the limit of the coverage, which is the big tip that we're talking about today. Increase that coverage. It will pay medical bills, reimburse you for prescriptions at the pharmacy, any of that kind of stuff. Our office, when we are involved, love to play quarterback with the billing aspect for any of the medical treatment, wage loss, or otherwise. It allows us to take that money and leverage it for you and make it worth even more in a lot of situations than the coverage you actually have. It is how, and the math is tricky, and I can't really show you without breaching client confidentiality how this works, but trust me, there have been a handful of situations, and there are a handful of situations every single year where even after paying my office to do the work that we do, my clients are getting almost the entire amount of money that we settle the case for in their pocket. Sometimes, very rare, but sometimes even more money in their pocket than what we settled the case for. Now, that only happens once or twice a year. It's a real specific situation, but it starts with you taking a look at that insurance policy, taking a look at your personal injury protection coverage, and then calling your insurance agent and saying, give me prices to increase this coverage. All companies are allowed, most companies will offer you up to $10,000 in personal injury protection coverage. This is per person, per accident. So if you've got a minivan and 7 people in it, and everybody's in this accident and everybody's injured, unless they've waived this coverage on their own policy, that's a topic we should talk about in a future episode. Unless somebody's waived that coverage, they will be eligible for up to $10,000 in personal injury protection coverage. Now, this isn't automatically a check that the insurance company writes. If you don't get $10,000 worth of medical care or wage loss, or the two of them combined, you're not going to exhaust the 10 grand, but you will be able to get as much as 10 grand. And quite frankly, with the accidents that my office deals with, the big owls, almost everybody has medical bills that exceed $10,000. The cost of everything is going up. Medical treatment is no different. A visit to the ER in an ambulance and a couple of weeks of PT, and you're halfway to that $10,000 mark. You might not believe me, but this is what I do all day, every day. There's another episode, maybe 2 months ago, where I talk about and actually walk through getting quotes on a policy. You are going to pay very little money, very, very little money to go from $2,500 worth of personal injury protection coverage to $10,000. I mean, $5 a year sometimes might be the increase. It's peanuts. And all this does is go to put money in your pocket. And in Maryland, just so that there's full disclosure as to what my motivations are here, attorneys are not allowed to take a fee on a PIP claim unless we have to file a lawsuit in it. You know, if there's some sort of a dispute, and this rarely ever happens, we process these PIP claims. We make sure that the money goes where it benefits our clients the most, and we do not charge a fee. My recommendation here is all about putting more money in your pocket, not my pocket, your pocket, if you were ever in an accident, suffer injuries, and have to have us deal with everything that we have to deal with for you. So it's very simple. Personal injury protection coverage. Call your agent, Find out how much of this coverage you have, because as we've talked about in previous episodes, sometimes it's difficult to decipher from that declarations page exactly what kind of coverage you have. Get as much as you can. And hopefully you never need to call me. But if you do, we are here. That's what we're here for. One last thing I want to plug. I am performing a stage show this week. So if you were watching this live, come to Harford County Thursday night. It is not just me, but it's an amazing lineup involving Mickey Coachella, who used to be on the 98 Rock Morning Show. I don't know if I'm allowed to plug that in relationship to him, but I'm doing it. He used to do that. He's now on his own out there doing all of his headlining comedy shows. Lowell Sheets, who's a very, very well-known magician in Harford County, and myself. We are doing a 3-act show with hypnosis, magic, and comedy. It is going to be a great time. I believe there's still tickets available. It's at the Falston Barrel House. That's May 22nd. Get there early if you want to eat. I would call for reservations just to make sure that you can get in, get your meal, and get out before the show starts. Well, not get out, just get to the room where the show is. It's going to be a great time. Again, that's the Falston Barrel House, 3guyslive.com. We'll take you directly to the ticket site. That's all I got for you for this week. So yes, that's the reminder. Number one secret tip for your auto insurance policy: maximize your personal injury protection coverage. If you have questions about it specifically, leave me a comment below. Otherwise, tune in next week for more great information. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you. Please take action on this. You will thank me. It's very inexpensive and very valuable if you ever do need to use it. Till next week, be safe, be well out there.